What's up everybody, and welcome to part 2 of my Blender animation tutorial. So in this video we are going to be covering how to create text in Blender, how to animate that text, at least in a very basic way. All of the knowledge you learn in this video can be used for animation in the future, so that's pretty cool. And then also we will be learning some basics in 3D and 3D modeling as well. So just like if you want to create maybe like a very simple 3D logo or something to animate with some text, maybe like a YouTube intro, that is actually specifically what we're going to be making something like. So we're going to be making something like a YouTube intro. So real quick, we are going to delete everything in our scene here. So delete all of it. So just select like the square, click delete, same thing with the other two, and it deletes everything. So first thing you want to add in is a plane. So Shift A, or you can go up here and click add, go over to plane, or you can click Shift A, go to mesh, go to plane. Now the plane is flat. We want it to be vertical and use it as a background sort of thing, so we can have lighting on the background as well as on our text when we add in the lighting, which will probably be the last thing we add. So to do that, we will rotate it on the y-axis, the green axis here, by 90 degrees. So there are really two ways of doing that. You can select the plane and then go to either rotate or the transform, and again the transform just shows everything, and then rotate it on the y-axis and then just look right here and just like make sure that gets to 90. I guess there's three ways. You could also put this on 90 degrees on the y-axis, or what I find the easiest to do is do it with the keyboard. So you click R to rotate, Y to activate it on the y-axis, and then just type in 90, and then you rotated it by 90 degrees, which is pretty cool. So now that you've done that, it is vertical. So now you just want to scale it up just so you know you have enough room. The next thing we're going to add in is a camera. So we're going to click 3 on the numpad, and that gets us into a sort of side view of everything, or front view actually. Shift A. Now you want to go down to camera, click that. So the camera is now facing where you were facing before, although it is in the middle. So you're going to want to click the move icon here, drag the camera out. Now, real quickly, I'm just going to change up these windows here so you guys can see everything that I can see. So there's going to be a window right behind my camera that is blocked, but I'm not going to be using it. So just pretend the bottom of this section is the bottom of my screen. Okay, so now one really good thing to do is add in a camera view window sort of thing. So because I do not have enough room to really add in a new window, I'll show you how to add in a new window, and I'll delete that window real quick. So to add in a new window, hover your mouse over the edge of one of these windows until you can see the crosshairs. Click it, and then drag down, or up really, or drag into the window, whatever the corner was. And then to get rid of a window, basically you do the same thing, go into the corner of a window, and then drag into the corner that you just added, or any other, the window that you just added, or any other window. Alright, so now that we've done that, let's add in the camera. So really quickly, I'm just going to use this window since I don't have enough room, and I'm going to click this button here, and it has all of these different window types. We're going to select 3D viewport, hover our mouse over this view, and click circle on the numpad. Now what we are going to do is really quickly just drag out here, just drag these windows out a decent farness away, and then just select viewport shading, and then just drag them back. Now that is so you can actually see the colors of the textures in that camera. It just makes it easier to see a lot of stuff. So we're going to give this a real quick texture here. So you select this tab right here where it says Material Properties. Looks like a little red ball thing. Click New. And then we're just going to change the base color here, and we're going to drag that down to like right there, I guess. And then in this window, you can also select the viewport shading icon. Alright, so now, real quickly, let's change the render engine to cycles. And that will change some stuff later on. And I'll also explain why you would want to use Eevee, because you might want to use Eevee once the render process starts. Or once you get ready to start the render process. So, you want to now add the text. So, what are we going to use for text? You click Shift A to add, or go up to add. Then you click text. And once the text is added, it's a little not rotated properly. So what we're going to want to do is rotate it by 90 degrees on the x-axis and then 90 degrees on the z-axis. So to do that on the keyboard, you can click R, X, 90, enter, and then R, Z, 90, and then enter. And then there we go. We got the text right here, perfectly visible. Awesome. Now, how do you edit that text? So to edit that text, you click Tab, or you go into edit mode, which that is what Tab does. So to go into edit mode with the mouse, go up to object mode here, and then click edit mode on the drop down menu. And then Tab will just cycle through those two. So once you click Tab, or you go into the edit menu or edit mode, you can change the text. So I'm just going to type in YouTube intro. So YouTube intro. There we go. YouTube intro. And then just to make things easy, I'm going to go out of edit mode now. I guess you guys should go out of edit mode too. Go into object, go into set origin, and then origin to geometry. That just puts the center of everything in the center of everything, I guess. Now, to easily just center the camera, you can either use this or this. And then, yeah, click 0 to get 0 on the numpad to get into the camera view again. So the text is selected now. You're in object mode. Now what do? You go over into this window here and select this little A button right there, little A icon. Now the icon there is different for everything. I'm pretty sure it's always green though. Once you're in here, you want to go to geometry. And you want to go to extrude. So I think it's probably best for you to go onto a side view of whatever this is and go to extrude. You just extrude it. Hold and drag, or you can type in the actual number you want. Maybe let's say 0.10. There we go. And I don't know if that's extruded enough for me, so I'm just going to go a little bit more. There we go. 0.15. That seems decent. Now, how do we get it so the edges are not sharp? So what you want to do is you want to bevel it. So to bevel the edges, go to bevel right here and up the depth, basically. You don't want to make it too much because then, as you can see, the letters sort of go inside of each other. So you want it to be, basically, in my opinion, I want it to be just enough so the letters don't clip inside each other. So I'll go 0.03, I guess. And then where it says resolution, you want to up it all the way up to 32. If you go all the way down to 0, it looks bad. But you want to go all the way up to 32. Now, to easily make out objects when you are editing them with the viewport shading on, just change the texture of everything else, basically, which is what I'm going to do right now for this. Base color, let's make this red. red. So let's just drag green and blue all the way down in the RGB area. So click here, by the way. If it's not RGB, just click RGB right there, and you can edit it that way. So now we got YouTube intro in there. That's awesome. We got the YouTube intro. But it's only the text. So let's start with the 3D modeling part. Maybe make the YouTube icon, that red and white play button sort of thing. So let's do that. How do you do that? So click Shift A to add an icon. Go to Mesh and go to Cube. So let's scale this cube so it looks like the general dimensions of the YouTube play button. So let's go to Transform or the Scale button. Either two can scale and then scale it. You can either scale it this way or you can scale it with the keyboard. So S, Y, you can drag it, or you can type in how much you want to scale, just like with the rotation. So this is now scaling on the Y direction. I'm going to scale it about there. And scale X, scale in the X direction about there, I think. Let's scale Z a little bit. So scale Z, make it a little bit smaller that way. There we go. I think that is fairly decent there. So now we are going to add in a modifier to create some bevels. So click the modifier button. That button is the blue wrench button on this panel. Click Add Modifier and then click Bevel. So it doesn't look very good right now. So what you want to do is give it 32 segments. So where it says segments, type in 32. Once you've typed in 32 for the segments, you want to go to Offset and drag that up. Let's drag it to 0.6. There we go, 0.6. That looks like the YouTube icon a little bit there. That looks pretty nice. Now, let's work on the triangle. So let's Shift A, add in a plane. Let's just drag it out of the way here. And what to do now? So now we go into edit mode. So we click Tab to get into edit mode again. And we need to make sure vertice select is selected. So go up here in the corner with these three boxes here. And this is face select, edge select, vertice select. So vertice select, you want to be selected. So select two vertices. So select this one and then shift select another one. So they have to be adjacent. So I'm just going to do the top two right here. Once those are selected, you want to click Alt M and then select at center. And that basically makes a vertice at the center of those two vertices and gets rid of the other two. So now you've got a triangle. So now what do? You click A to select all the vertices, and then click E to extrude, and you extrude it to however much you like. I'm extruding it that much. And then go to object mode. When you're in object mode, you're probably wondering, how do I rotate it to fit with the YouTube icon? So the best way to do that, the fastest way, is probably just use the keyboard, like I do, but I'm not going to push that onto you. So if you are going to use the keyboard, you will want to rotate it by -90 on the x-axis and then on the z-axis as well. So rotate x, -90. Alright, so rotate z, -90. There we go, -90. Rotated. Fantastic. Now, the best way to get it lined up with the YouTube logo thing, click 0 so you can just look at this camera and it's a little bit bigger. Now what you want to do is just sort of line it up here. Actually, you probably don't want to click Z. Never mind, I forgot. This is sort of a perspective, so instead click 3. There you go. And 3 is just a side view, so everything is fairly accurate with how it looks and how things are centered with each other. So you want to really just center this Now you want to drag it back, and it looks pretty good. Drag it in just a little bit more. Alright, so now, what do we do next? How do we make them to be the same object? So what we want to do is select both of them. So shift select, select this one, shift select the triangle there, click object, click join, and oh no, what happened there? Well, I will tell you what happened. So one of the objects had a modifier that gave it a bevel. One of them didn't have any modifier. And the triangle was selected as the main object, so it became the parent object, and all of its modifiers and everything got transferred over to the square. So what we are going to do is undo that with Control Z, and then we're going to select this little back part here, and then apply the bevel modifier. So on the bevel modifier and the modifiers tab, click apply. So now you just click both of them, and now you can join them without anything happening. So that is fantastic. Now we got to get the colors. How do we do that? So Blender normally adds all one color to an object, but I'm going to show you how to easily just have two different colors. So first we are going to add whatever color is going to be like the most prominent color. So we're going to add some red in here. So let's go to the materials section, click new, and then add red. Just bring the G and the B all the way down, green and blue down. Okay, so now that we've done that, how do we make the triangle yellow, or not yellow, white? How do we make the triangle white? So to do that, I want to go into edit mode, so click tab, and then you want to do face select right there, face select. Not vertice select, not edge select, but face select. And then you want to select all the faces of the triangle that are visible, because it is not fun having to select things that are behind other stuff. So we're just going to select the visible ones. So all four of those. And then we're going to click this little plus icon in the materials area, click new, and then it's already white. 0.8, 0.8, 0.8. I like keeping things at 0.8. I don't like going higher than 0.8 because it's just too vibrant. So with that done, all we have to click is assign right there, and it assigns it to the selection in edit mode. And just so you know, you have to be in edit mode to assign it to a different part of the object. So that's done. That's fantastic. Now what I want to do is drag this back, I guess. I'm going to drag it back, make it a little bit smaller, I guess. Drag it back. And I think that's going to be the last frame of our animation, or the last couple of frames. So I'm going to go to 220. I'm going to click I. I'm going to click Lock Rot Scale. So that was just the YouTube button there. But I also want to do it with the text. So click I, Lock Rot Scale on the text as well. And the reason we have to do both is because Blender only does keyframing for the object that is selected. So let's do that here too at frame 250. So I, Lock Rot Scale, I, Lock Rot Scale. So now that we have that done, we can actually go to the beginning of the frame and sort of start the animation here. So let's click the little play button there. Let's just drag it out. I want that to just sort of zoom out into the animation area. And then, maybe, you know what? We don't have the sizes correct. Alright, so I guess we gotta fix that real quick. So I will be back once I have everything centered and nice. Alright everybody, so I finished that, and this is what it looks like now when it ends. So now, let's go all the way to frame 1, and now we will just start the animation. So to start the animation, we're going to want to, I guess, like drag the text out, maybe rotate it a little bit, rotate on the Z-axis, rotate on the X-axis, rotate on the Z-axis, I guess. Just crazy rotations. Crazy rotations. Let's just drag this, just drag it out there. And let's lock rot scale, lock rot scale, both of them. Alright, so now they're lock rot scaled. So now let's see if the animation sort of goes. So we're just going to use this to quickly scrub through it. So this is where they come in. So that's like a good couple of seconds into the animation. So we want them to come all the way up to the camera at like frame 20 here. Actually start appearing at like frame 20. Alright, so we're going to lock rot scale that there, and then we are going to drag the text up here, and let's see if we can just get it sort of into view there. Lock rot scale it there. So now let's see how slow this is. And ooh, the YouTube intro sort of clips into the background there. So how do we keep that from happening? What we want to do is basically just scrub through until it cuts through the background there. You don't want anything to cut into anything really in a finished animation. It just looks weird. So I'm going to lock rot scale it right here where it's not cutting into anything, and let's see if it still cuts into anything. Does it still? No, it does not. That's fantastic. It does not cut into anything. That is great. So now I think we have it finished. Let's see. Let's play it from the beginning here, and let's see if it's properly paced and all that. It's a little slow. We could fix that by adding in a couple keyframes, making it run faster. We could even change the frame rate to like 30 FPS or something like that. So to do that, you can click up here somewhere. You click in this panel. You would click this button right here that looks like, sort of like a printer. And then where it says frame rate, go to 30. And as you can see, it runs a lot faster now. Although the overall time of the animation is slower. You could even go to 60 frames per second. Runs a lot faster now, and I think I'm gonna keep it there. Keep it at 60 frames per second. It looks buttery smooth. So now we've got the animation done. What do we do now? Well, I'll tell you what you want to do. You want to figure out whether you can use cycles or whether you have to use the Eevee rendering engine, and I'm going to go over a decent amount of that. So go to this panel here, and in the camera icon where you selected cycles, you want to go to device and select GPU compute. If it's there, select it. So if it's not, or if there's something weird about it, like it's grayed out or something like that, you want to go to Edit, Preferences, System, CUDA, and then select these. Basically, you just select both of them, select everything that is there. If there's nothing there, then you can't use GPU compute and you have to use the CPU, and in that case it's probably easier just to use the Eevee engine. So once that's done, you want to make sure resolution is at what you are going to animate it at. So mine will be full HD 1920 by 1080 and 60 FPS, all of that's good. And then yeah, alright, so now what you want to do, go all the way to frame, what am I doing? Go. What's going on here? Oh, yeah, there we go. Go all the way to frame, in between frame 220 and 250. So now you click render, and then you click render image. And oh my gosh, there's no lighting. So click escape, let's add some lighting real quick. I totally forgot about that. So let's add in an area light. Scale it up to about right there. Move the light up. Let's rotate it on the x-axis here. And let's rotate it on the z-axis about like that. And let's just move it to wherever we want it here. There we go. It's at least pointing at the little play icon there. Now, let's see if we can get the lighting set up. So click Z and then click rendered. And this shouldn't look much worse than it looks for my computer, if you have a decent computer, I guess. Now, if your computer struggles to even do this rendering here, then you'll probably want to use the Eevee rendering engine, and I will show you how to do that. So, let's just work on the lighting real quick. Let's just drag this up. Drag the power right here where it has the wattage or whatever. Just drag it up. Let's go to 2000. Oh, whoops, that was 200. Let's go to 2000. And that, it's a little dark. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to change the background color of this. Whoops. Let's go up to where is it? Base color. Let's just drag it up a little bit, make it a little bit brighter. And now I'm going to select the light again. And then I'm going to make this, let's see what 3000 looks like. Alright, not too bad there. So what we're going to do is we are going to quickly render out an image and see how long that takes, and then use a little bit of math to figure out how long it'll take for you to render your whole animation. So let's go to render and render image. So my image is taking a decent amount of time to render right now. I'm going to zoom out a little bit here. It's taking a decent amount of time to render. Not too bad. You can cut down on that by changing post-processing effects. Some of the ways it renders, you can maybe make it so there's less resolution on the bevels, less segments on the bevels for the square. You can do quite a lot to increase the render time, but mainly you want to take however long it takes to render an image and multiply that by 250, or however many frames are in your animation. So mine would be 50 seconds times 250. So this animation would take about 3 hours, at least a little bit under 4 hours, I think, to fully render. That's not too bad for an animation. Now, if your computer will take way too long to render out in cycles, which I would say way too long is anywhere above 8 hours, then you want to go and select Eevee. That is the render preview. So now we're just going to go to solid, and we are going to go to render image. So that took less than 1 second. That's crazy compared to what it took in cycles. And that is sort of because the Eevee engine is very similar to a game engine, which is fantastic if you are going to do quick animations and you don't necessarily need the realistic shadows and all of that stuff. So this, it only take a minute or two to render out as a full-on animation. So now we're going to go to the settings, and we are going to get things ready to render out as a animation. So first, either Eevee or cycles, whichever one you want. I would use cycles because my computer can handle it, and I think the quality is worth 3 extra hours. So I have cycles selected, and now every step after this should be the same or nearly the same for everybody. So click the little printer icon, and make sure your resolution is what you want it at. Make sure this is dragged all the way up to 100 so you actually get that resolution. And then once that is done, you can select your frame rate, and then output is the biggest thing you need to mess with. So select whatever folder you want to output it to, and then once that is done, you want to select the file. So I suggest FFmpeg, and then RGB encoding Metrosky H.264 for video codec. Output quality, I generally put it on perceptually lossless. Encoding speed slowest, just because I like a smaller file. Keyframe interval, I keep that at 18. Max B frames, I keep that at 0. Audio, if there's audio, you put it on MP3. If there's no audio, it's not necessarily very important for you to even select anything there. That's really more important if you're going to do something like video editing through Blender. So once that is done, you should be ready to start rendering out an animation. So to actually start that, you go to Render and you select Render Animation. And that is basically how you animate in Blender. I hope you guys like this video, and I will see you all in the next video.